Canadians outraged as Carney gets praise after economic stumbles. Tax backlash erupts. Mark Carney's rise to the office of Prime Minister following the snap federal election on April 28, 2025, was met with cautious optimism by many Canadians. Known globally for his tenure as Governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, Carney was widely expected to bring economic expertise and steady leadership during turbulent times. However, the honeymoon period has been short-lived. While some praise Carney's intellectual approach and policy ambition, a wave of frustration and outright outrage has erupted across the country, especially in reaction to his government's tax policies and perceived economic missteps. From the outset, Carney's government inherited a complicated economic landscape. Inflation, although somewhat moderated, remains stubbornly high, affecting everything from grocery bills to fuel prices. Housing affordability continues to deteriorate, pushing many Canadians, especially younger generations, into a corner where homeownership feels increasingly out of reach. Unemployment numbers have plateaued instead of improving, particularly in critical sectors like manufacturing and energy, industries that remain lifelines for many communities outside Canada's major metropolitan centres. These economic pressures have led many citizens to question whether Carney's elite financial background truly aligns with the daily realities they face. Despite these challenges, Carney has found applause from business leaders, economists, and international observers who commend his cautious fiscal approach. His emphasis on reducing government deficits and controlling public debt resonates with those concerned about Canada's long-term economic health. Carney's government has also prioritized green technologies and infrastructure projects, aiming to position Canada as a leader in clean energy and innovation. Supporters argue these investments are necessary for future prosperity, even if they demand short-term sacrifices. His measured tone and policy-driven speeches have won respect in political and financial circles, creating a contrast with the often chaotic and polarized nature of Canadian politics. However, it is the government's proposed tax reforms that have ignited the fiercest backlash. To fund social programs and environmental initiatives, Carney's administration unveiled tax hikes targeting high earners and corporations. These measures, while designed to address growing income inequality and support climate goals, have stirred fears among many Canadians about the economic burden these taxes might impose. Small business owners, entrepreneurs, and even middle-income families worry about the ripple effects, especially amid an already rising cost of living. The perception that the government is reaching too deeply into wallets has led to heated debates both online and in community forums across the country. Opposition parties have seized upon this unrest. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has painted Carney's administration as out of touch and punitive, emphasizing promises of tax cuts and smaller government. Poilievre's messaging, highlighting tax relief for hardworking Canadians, has struck a chord, especially in suburban and rural communities where frustrations run highest. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party, led by Jagmeet Singh, supports many of Carney's social spending plans but calls for even more aggressive redistribution measures. This political tug-of-war places Carney's government in a difficult position, attempting to balance progressive goals with a wary electorate. Public opinion remains deeply divided. Urban, younger voters and progressive groups tend to back Carney's vision of social equity and climate action, viewing tax reforms as necessary for a fairer society. On the other hand, many suburban and rural Canadians feel alienated by policies they believe favor elites and big corporations at their expense. The narrative of out-of-touch experts has gained traction, making it harder for Carney's government to bridge the divide. Town halls and public forums across Canada reveal a growing sense of disconnect between government plans and the lived experiences of many citizens struggling with daily expenses. In response to mounting criticism, the government has attempted to clarify and modify some tax proposals. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland has underscored that the reforms aim to be progressive and fair, protecting small businesses and middle-class families through exemptions and relief programs. Carney himself has emphasized the need for balance, arguing that investment in housing, healthcare, and education now will produce lasting benefits for the economy and society as a whole. Yet, convincing skeptical Canadians remains an uphill battle as frustration over inflation and taxes persists. The political environment surrounding Carney's administration is further complicated by internal Liberal Party dynamics. While many members support the Prime Minister's vision, some MPs have expressed concern about the speed and scope of tax changes amid economic uncertainty. This has led to intense debate within the party, with Carney needing to carefully manage expectations and maintain unity while under intense opposition scrutiny. The party's ability to hold together through these turbulent times could determine the government's survival in the coming months. The opposition's relentless focus on economic issues has only intensified pressure. Pierre Poilievre continues to rally voters around themes of economic freedom and reducing government interference. His attacks on Carney's tax policies have framed the government as a threat to economic growth, arguing that higher taxes will lead to job losses and stifled innovation. This narrative resonates strongly in regions where the economy is fragile and voters are deeply concerned about their financial future. At the same time, Jagmeet Singh and the NDP push for stronger social safety nets, demanding more government intervention to address inequality and climate change, putting Carney in the crosshairs of demands from both sides of the political spectrum. Looking forward, Carney's administration faces critical decisions. How it manages the delicate balance between economic prudence and social investment will shape Canada's trajectory in the coming years. The Prime Minister's ability to respond to public concerns, adjust policies without losing core ambitions, and effectively communicate the long-term benefits of his agenda will be vital. Failure to do so risks deepening the tax backlash and strengthening opposition forces eager to capitalize on public frustration. Ultimately, Mark Carney's tenure as Prime Minister is still in its early days, but the stakes are already high. Praised for his expertise and global perspective yet criticized for perceived detachment and policy missteps, Carney must navigate a divided electorate hungry for solutions but wary of new burdens. The tax debate is only one front in this broader struggle to define Canada's economic future, one where fairness, growth, and opportunity must be balanced carefully to earn the trust of Canadians from coast to coast. In this pivotal moment, Canadians now watch closely, ready to judge if Carney's government can fulfill its promises, or if rising outrage will fuel lasting political unrest. His challenge goes beyond economics. It's about uniting a divided nation around a vision of fairness and prosperity amid uncertain times.